Hey, I'm Elisa, the Half Asian Tarot Queen, and welcome to the channel. I want to let you guys know that I'm doing a giveaway right now. I'm giving away this Starseed Oracle, and it's just because I love this deck so much, and it's just got a lot of really positive messages, and I think this is a really important tool for helping us all work through this moment that we're going through post, post COVID, but during this whole pandemic that we're working through. It's really important to keep a positive mindset through all these changes. But okay, I'm gonna go to the Mystical Shaman Oracle, which was the last giveaway that we did, and another deck that I really love. And see what we have. There's so much flux happening. The flux capacitor in this moment of change. And I think, the thing that I think it's important to keep in mind is that there's a lot of opportunity in moments of change, because things are in flux, so it's like really big changes in your life can be set in motion, I think the time leading up to this moment, there was a lot of stuck energy in the readings for a long time, and it's like things are starting to flow now, which is actually a beautiful thing. So I think that's an important, thing to keep in perspective. But okay, so at the bottom of the deck we have lightning, which is kind of crazy because this has been a recurring theme in readings for a while. And I'm going to link to a couple of the other readings. Well, maybe I'll link to the last reading with this because it links to the previous readings. But this is like a jolt, sort of like a shock that's like in an instant just going to like change your awareness like in a profound way. So it's kind of like a tower moment. You could liken it to in the tarot. But this is pretty cool, the cards that came out. And again, it's really cool how the cards flow together. And even, again, like how even the colors flow together. I love this deck, but I say that all the time. Okay, so the first card we have is the Crow. And then we have the Sacrifice and the Mystical Shaman. So the Crow, this is a card of the truth. It's a card of being in your truth, like being in alignment with who you say you are and who you are, But it's also a card of speaking your truth, and letting that be known. So, this is also just like you could liken this card to like the Ace of Swords in the deck, but it's just sort of like you're cutting slop out, like there's no room for dissonance or just when you're not in your truth, it creates this energy of just sort of internal struggle, because you might be saying one thing and doing another, but this creates an internal conflict, which like chews up your energy, And so if you look at yesterday's reading, because it was all talking about moving through this really difficult time, and this card came up about this Luminous Warrior, and the gift of this person was that they had like cleaned out all of their internal conflicts, because they were like they had examined their shadow elements, they had dealt with all of that stuff, and then they were, all of their energy was being freed up to like manifest what they were trying to you know, achieve in the external world. And so this card is, it's kind of a similar theme, but it's just sort of like how you achieve that. You know, it's like you have to stand in your truth. You have to tell the truth, you have to be your truth, and you have to speak your truth, you know. And when you do that, like, you clean all this up, you know, so that all of your energy becomes focused towards your intention instead of being derailed and sidetracked by all these other, you know, these other things, which in the end just become like self-sabotage, you know, because when your intention is pure and it's like it's not being derailed, then, you know, you're in your power. You can manifest your desire, you know. And the more you can clean that up, like, the more powerful you are. So the next card we have is the Sacrifice. And this is a card of gratitude, you know, and it's also just a card of sort of having faith, you know, because it's just like you're making an offering to the universe, you know, like you've cleaned up all this slop and you're like, okay, this is who I am, and I'm offering it to the universe, like I'm giving it up to the universe, and just like having faith that things are going to work out, you know, but you're offering yourself to the universe or to God or to this higher power, to the divine, to be an instrument, you know, and you're not being attached to an outcome for how things are going to work out. You're just trusting and having faith that they're going to, which is interesting because that leads perfectly nicely into the next card, which is the card of the mystical shaman. And this is a card of non-attachment and just sort of like not being attached or to your past or to identities or situations or things that have happened to you, you know, like for example, you know, you've always had money troubles your whole life, so you've decided that that's just, you know, that's who you are, you know, and so you kind of like wear it as a badge of honor, you know. But what if you didn't become attached to that story? What if you just observe that, you know, as a thing that you've walked through, which made you a stronger person, which made you, like, for example, like, good with money, you know, resourceful, you know, and but just weren't attached to that sort of identity, you know. And so it's like then you kind of take that lesson, but you're still open to being, you know, having a different experience, you know, because it's like when we become attached to like an identity, it makes it difficult for us to like move through and have a different experience, you know. And so this card is a card of just like being open and like not being attached to an outcome, because when we become attached to an outcome, then we just like keep having the same story over and over again. But actually, we don't have to be that person. We could be someone else, you know. Or another example is just like, you know, being single. It's like, well, I'm just single. I've just been this single person, like, you know, that's who I am. I'm like not going to change, you know. Well, then there's a whole other world of experiences that you're kind of like blocked yourself off from. And, you know, maybe that's what you want, you know, but what this card is inviting you to do is to just like not be attached to an outcome and just kind of like flow, you know, which this is a really actually nice evolution to the reading from yesterday, which I would look at because it was all talking about how to move through this time of change, you know, and manifest our desires. And I think this is really good advice, you know. It's like speak your truth, be your truth, and know your truth, and let that be known, you know. And then have gratitude for everything that's coming to you from the universe, and have faith that the flow that is coming to you is going to bring you, you know, to where you, what you're trying to manifest in alignment with your intentions, you know. And don't be attached to the experience that you're having now, you know, especially if it's like not a pleasant one, you know. It's just like, for example, you know, like a lot of people are out of work, you know. I mean, I'm one of them. And you don't want to be attached to that outcome for sure, you know, because the world is full of limitless opportunities that we have to be open to, you know. And so we don't want to become attached to scarcity or just the feeling that we are not enough or that we don't have enough, you know, because that's what we're going to like bring to ourselves, you know. But really, this is a moment of opportunity. We have to look at it that way so that we can attract that to ourselves. So, you know, I think ever since the coronavirus has happened, you know, we've all kind of gone through this assessment with ourselves and what we're going to bring forward and what we're not. And so we've kind of come into our truth, you know, and so now we're ready, you know, we're all starting to re-engage. And so we have to like have gratitude for what's coming to us, you know, because that's what's going to invite the new opportunities and the new life to us, you know. So don't be attached to our old life because everything's changed. There's a new world order that's emerged, you know, and we want to be in alignment with the best possible outcome for all of us. So, okay, I'm going to Ethereal Visions to get some overall energies for this reading. At the bottom, we have Justice. And this is interesting because, again, I'm going to refer to yesterday's reading because that card came out twice yesterday. Okay, so at the bottom of this deck, we have the Eight of Wands. So this is like fast action, you know, a message could be coming in, or, you know, something's about to change. And we have, for the overall energies, we have the Four of Cups, the Star, and we have the Sun. So it's like we have this person here, and there's this like cup of love that's being offered to them on like angel's wings, you know. It's like flying right in front of them, you know, and they're just like, they're not seeing it. They're just kind of like meditating, you know. They're just kind of focused on their own thing, and there's this great thing right in front of them and they're totally not seeing it. But then we have the Star, which is a card of healing, and it's also a card of wishes coming true, you know. And then we have the Sun, which is the best card in the deck. I mean, look at all that gold and glitter, you know. This is the best card in the deck. It's like happiness, abundance, fertility, you know, everything. And so it's like we have the Star and the Sun, which is just like amazing. It's just like, you can't really get any better. But this person, you know, they're not seeing it. You know, it's there, but they don't see it, you know. So this is interesting. I'm gonna keep going and see where this is going. I'm gonna use the Muse Tarot. This is a new deck that just came out, and I really love it. Oh my gosh, what's crazy is that at the bottom of this deck, we have also the Star, a different version of the Star. So that's pretty great. I'm gonna pull just some general energies from this card deck, just to see what this is looking like. But while I'm doing this shuffle, I was just gonna mention that if you're new to this channel, thanks for checking it out. I've got the videos on this channel arranged in a slightly less than standard fashion, and it would probably be better, like I would get more views and stuff if I arranged it in the way that, you know, according to zodiac signs like everybody else. But I'm kind of not really doing this for the views, and I like the way that it's organized, where it's just arranged according to storylines. So if there's like a storyline that comes up in a reading, I'll kind of link it with other videos that have a similar storyline. And so there's a number of playlists with different themes, you know, and there's some themes that have like storylines that have emerged more than others, you know, like there's it's almost like a daytime soap opera where there's these different characters that come and go. Like there's this Knight of Wands character, like this player Don Juan guy. There's like this stalker energy. There's like this emperor who's building a dynasty, you know. So there's these different characters, but I will say that ever since coronavirus hit, it's almost like it's like leveled all the storylines, and like coronavirus is the main storyline that's happening right now. But anyways, there's a number of playlists on the channel that's arranged according to that. I also link videos within the video that are related if you want to browse the channel that way. So just wanted to mention that. Okay, so we've got the Three of Inspiration. So this is in the regular deck, it's like the Three of Wands. So that's kind of like you're sort of like waiting for the Polaroid to develop, you know, like you see in the horizon what's going on, like, but it's still developing, you know. And then we have the Wheel, the Five of Materials, and we have the Knight of Materials. So this is interesting because, so the Wheel, you know, this is just like everything's changing, you know. I mean, this makes sense because, you know, global pandemic, like everybody's life is going through a huge shift right now. And then we have the Five of Materials, which this is a card of lack, you know, and this is actually an energy that is super foundational in this thread about the stalker storyline, because it's that feeling of lack or not being worthy or not having enough that's kind of the foundation for these kinds of situations, you know. So that's an energy that's really prevalent in that thread. And then, but it's interesting because this falls right under the Star, you know, and so it's just like, this is a card of healing. So it's like, this is the energy that's being healed, you know. So this typically will give rise to like some toxic situations, like for example the stalker situation, but that energy is being healed, and that's allowing for these wishes to come true, you know. And then we have the Knight of Materials, and so, you know, Knights mean action, you know, and so a lot of times it's kind of fly by night, you know. Like there's the Knight of Wands, he's like this player guy, and he's super romantic, and like, you know, you like have a really fun night at the ball, but then the stage coach turns into a pumpkin, you know, because he's like off to the next ball, you know. But the Knight of Wands is different. I mean, the Knight of Pentacles is different. Like this guy's actually, he's like steady Eddie, like he's like the slowest moving knight. Like he moves really slow, but the thing that's cool about this knight is that he's not fly by night, he's not rash, he's like built to last, you know. Like he lays down a foundation and it lasts. And it's cool because that fell right under the sun. Like this is what we're going for ultimately. And we're actually building a solid foundation towards this, you know, this outcome. And this guy who's just kind of not seeing this thing that's right in front of him. Well, the card that fell on top of him is the Wheel. Like, this is about to change, you know? Like, this guy's getting a rude awakening, you know? Like, whatever it is that he's, like, not allowing into his awareness, it's about to hit him over the head, you know? And then on the next row, we have the Four of Inspiration. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. the Four of the Six of Voices, and then we have the Five of Inspiration. Okay, so the Four of Inspiration, this is a card of foundation, marriage, family, stability. Like, this is a super foundational card, you know, and it's just sort of like, there's this cup of love that's being offered to this guy, and he's just like not seeing it, but he's about to get hit over the head with this, like, hard, and that's gonna lay this new foundation. Like, it's almost like an example would be, like, I was watching this movie the other night called The Silver Linings Playbook, and there's this guy, and he's like, he's kind of bipolar, you know, and his wife has left him, and he's just like obsessed. Like, he wants to get back together with his wife, and he, like, the whole movie, he's just like, I gotta get back together with her, you know. He's totally, meanwhile, he's hanging around with this girl who likes him, and she's like been helping him to evolve, you know, but like the whole time he's obsessed with his wife and getting back together with his wife, and like doesn't see that there's this perfect match for him, like right in front of him, you know. And then at the end, it's like this Wheel of Fortune moment where he finally just suddenly like realizes, wait, I don't want to get back together with my wife. Like, I've got this solid new foundation right in front of me, and I haven't even noticed it because it was just like right under my nose. It's kind of like that sort of situation, you know. And that's, so like, he's gonna notice this, and that's gonna lead to the Six of Voices, which is a card of victory, you know. It's like you went away to battle and you come home and they're having a ticker tape parade in your honor. It's kind of like that, you know. So it's like healing this wound, this lack, this feeling of unworthiness or not having enough or scarcity, and that's going to lead to this victory and this healing and having your wishes coming true, you know. And so, and then we get the Five of Inspiration, which this is a card, you know, in the traditional deck, it's a card of conflict, though I think it has a slightly different meaning in this deck. So I'm going to pull that because it's like we're actually, it's going to be a shakeup. Like, we're going to have to work through some stuff, but we're doing this in service of slowly moving towards this. You know, this new foundation is actually going to lead to happiness and abundance and fertility and all great things. So, but because this Five of Inspiration is slightly different in this deck, I'm going to read you how it's put in here. Okay. So it talks about rivalry, challenges, a need to collaborate, infighting, and trying to outdo one another, friendly competition. So bouts of discord. So the muse looks down to the rivalry below, the pushing, the pulling, the comparisons, the not enough. Sometimes she sees the competition hurts, and sometimes she witnesses healthy and productive competitive motives. She hopes to illuminate both the positive and negative effects that these challenges can have on your life, find opportunities to work with others for common good, and engage in friendly competition that serves as a catalyst for success. So it's like we're ultimately going towards success, but this is just a reminder that there's going to require some work to get, you know, it's going to be, you're going to have to move slow, and you're going to have to work to get to this, but the opportunity is there, you know. So, okay, I'm going to go back to the ethereal vision to get some just some guidance about how we're going to move through this moment, because, yeah, like this kind of came up yesterday too. It's like there's this great moment of opportunity, but there's a lot of fear around right now too, because we're moving through this really difficult moment in time, you know, and so it's like really important to stay focused, because it's not going to be easy. Okay, sorry, that was my mom. But I pulled 3 cards of guidance, and it's really interesting. So I got the Nine of Swords, which this is a card of like fear and anxiety, you know. And it's like I was just talking about how there's all this fear and stuff around, you know, so it's like going to be really important to stay focused in order to like get through this. But it looks like, you know, maybe that's why this guy is kind of like blocked, you know, because it's like he has all this fear and anxiety to move through, you know, to get through this. And so that's kind of why he's sort of like been holding back, you know, and it's just sort of like, I was talking about Silver Linings Playbook, you know, because it's just like part of the issue with the guy was he had to work through all this trauma that he had been harboring, you know, and it's sort of like, it reminds me of this movie called Frankie and Johnny, and it's sort of old, and it's got like Al Pacino, and I can't remember who the woman was. Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer. And, you know, Michelle Pfeiffer was this like really sweet woman, but she had like all this trauma in her history, and so she just didn't want to get involved, you know. And so at the end, you know, when they get together, like Johnny has to like kind of like bust through all this trauma, and there's this explosion of stuff that comes out, you know, but that's kind of, it's necessary to like sort of break through her barrier, you know. So this is like, we're gonna have to move through this to get to the other side of this sort of avoidance here, you know. Then we have the Five of Cups, which this is a card of loss, you know. It's like this person has experienced all this loss, you know. I mean, there's lack, there's this feeling of unworthiness, of not having enough, of scarcity. But the thing about this card that's inspiring is like, if you can change your perspective from focusing on this loss, there's an opportunity behind. There's like two cups. There's like a love connection right behind this person, but they're going to actually have to make the conscious effort to like shift their focus to the other direction. And if they can do that, they're going to heal, and they're going to have their wishes come true, and they're going to have a victory, you know. And so, and it's interesting because that falls right under this sacrifice card, where it's just like having gratitude and like, and sort of like being vulnerable and offering yourself up to the universe. Like that's what's going to be required, you know. And this person, the thing that's going to change this situation from avoidance is they're going to have to like expose their true feelings, you know. This is really crazy. And so then the last card we have is the Tower. So it's just like, if they can do that, if they can work through their fear and their like disappointment from like past traumas, expose their truth and be vulnerable and just offer themselves up to the universe, there's going to be this Tower moment. And, you know, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to work through a lot of stuff. But this is the you know, where it's headed, which is like amazing, you know. But just cautioning that it's not going to be easy. Okay, so I'm going to the Starseed Oracle to pick one card. Because I want to remind you that we're doing a giveaway right now. And yeah, I mean, the whole point of the giveaway is like, I'm not really trying to become a tarot reader, or I'm doing this for wellness, because for me, tarot was like this huge tool for me. Like I have PTSD. I was just trying to figure out how to manage my stuff, and just like I've gotten so much out of it, because I think being able to have this impersonal way to tell stories and release energies so that they don't bind you up and like block you from moving through life is a really powerful tool. And also with these oracle messages, it's just like super positive messages, which is just like helps you to move through life, you know. And so yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing. Like I'm actually, my real true calling in life is to be a vegan cheesemaker. And I have a whole thread about that. I won't go into it for you because, you know, who cares? But I'm ultimately wanting to do that, but in a roundabout way because, you know, coronavirus. Okay, so the card that came out today, Messenger, Serious Energy, Bringing Harmony and Balance. Oh, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to read you from the book what it says, but just remind you that there is a giveaway, and you know, there's a video about it on the main page of the channel explaining how it works. So, and I think I put a link to it at the beginning too. You are part of a lineage of souls that have dedicated their lifetimes to the upliftment of the planet, to returning time and again to the seed of light, to seed the light, the crystalline ones, the ones who are here to plant the sacredness of life back in, to honor both the sacred feminine and masculine, to usher deep reverence back in. Many ascended masters are thought to be connected to the energy of Sirius. Often appearing as a shade of blue, they hold the frequency of pure love and are here to help the masculine and feminine exist in harmony, to ensure greater balance, to help us see that we're all connected and that the masculine and feminine energies exist within us all. You're being called to bring about this balance and harmony between the masculine and feminine, to be a guardian of harmony and balance on Earth. Think of the whales traveling around the globe and sharing love through their healing vibrational song. Their unique notes send balance and harmony to every corner of the planet. The rebalancing of the masculine and feminine is recurring worldwide. It's a resurgence of the sacred within us all, a returning of the sacred union within, a rekindling of heaven and earth. You can begin to bring harmony and balance by creating it in your own life. The ripples will flow from there. You can honor and balance the sacred masculine and feminine energies within yourself and others. Oh my gosh, that's so perfect. It like totally goes with this message, you know, of just like healing and, you know, building this new foundation of marriage, love, stability, you know, going towards this abundance, fertility, happiness, you know, but we're going to have to heal these traumas, you know, in order to get there. It's like Frankie and Johnny and the Silver Linings Playbook. Yeah. That's what you should go watch. Okay. Well, good luck with this. Hope it goes all right for you. But we'll check in soon with another message. And if you like this video, please like and also subscribe.